Welcome back to day 10 of the Australian Open 2020. I was already 13 minutes into this video and then I completely forgot what happened in the fourth set of NADAL and THIEM, despite just watching the match. So we'll have to start again and kick things off with ZVEREV against Stan Wawrinka. So neither of these players actually came to this tournament with much expectation behind them, I don't think. Zverev came onto the scene in 2016-17 and promised to be a future world number one and win multiple Grand Slams according to many, and he just didn't deal with that pressure at all well. I think Zverev started to try and change his game up too much for me. He started to try and hit winners too early in rallies and he was just making error after error. I know he split up with a couple of coaches and things just didn't look like to be working out for Zverev, but I'm pleased that he's come back and he looks back to his best in 2020. He's having a fantastic tournament. Into his maiden Grand Slam semi-final, and he'll be confident he can go all the way this week, having lost just one set in reaching the semis. As for Stan, he struggled with a major injury in 2018. In 2019, making his comeback, he just struggled with form, fitness and confidence, didn't really look like the Stan of old. But as the season went on, he did start to refine his form. He made a good run at the US Open before losing to Daniel Medvedev. And he came to 2020 I think with high hopes, but also just hoping to stay injury free, refine that fitness and form that he had a few years back when winning these 3 Grand Slam titles. So coming into this match I did fancy Stan, literally just down to the way he was hitting the ball in the last match against Medvedev. I thought he claimed a big win there for himself in confidence and form, and he just looked invincible on that one. And looking back, he probably did peak too early. As I say, he hit the ball so clean in that one. It was a case of could he do it again? If he did, he probably won, but that wasn't the case. He was quite disappointing tonight. I thought Wawrinka didn't play his best match of tennis by all means. As I say, he did have a tough time in the Open's part of 2019, so you don't know whether he's physically at 100%. He certainly didn't look good. I thought he looked a lot fresher in that Medvedev match later in the 5th set, but it's still a good tournament I feel for Stan. He's come back, he's played some great tennis this week, claimed some big wins, and I'm sure he'll be back fighting fit and playing well at the French Open. As for Zverev, he's almost cruised to this point. Really, he didn't lose a set up until this quarter-final match against Wawrinka, and it looks like a different Zverev. You wonder why he hasn't reached Grand Slam semi-finals really in the past when he's made it look this easy. But a fantastic tournament for Sasha. He's obviously up against Dominic Thiem next, who will be confident he can beat and face Roger Federer or Novak Djokovic in the final. So quickly going through the match, Wawrinka came out like a train in that first set, as he always does. I think he has to be one of the fastest starters in the world on the men's side. And Zverev didn't do a lot wrong really, just missed his length by a couple of inches, 2 or 3 inches in from the baseline, which was allowing Stan to really step in and take control of the points from an early stage. And I said before the match that if Stan was to win this one, the rallies that went 5 or less shots really favoured Stan. The longer rallies were going to favour Zverev. And Zverev's defensive work just wasn't good enough in that first set. He was hitting the ball too short. And we know how good Stan, how strong he is at stepping in on either forehand or backhand, and he was just ripping through the ball, timing it unbelievably well. And there's no matter who you are defending them shots, there's nobody getting them back. I think Stan's one of the cleanest and powerfulest hitters in the world, especially at his best. And in that first set, he was at his best. And I thought it was just a repeat of the Medvedev match where he's just invincible, just blasts it off the court. But all credit to Zverev, I was very impressed. I think a lot of players would have struggled to do with that first set mentally. He did get absolutely blown away in that first set, but I think Zverev realised that it was impossible for Stan to keep that level of performance, and Zverev knew if he just slowed the pace down, kept Stan on the move, started serving better and really hitting the ball deep, get the ball close to the baseline, push Stan back and make him hit winners from deep, make him hit winners and have to generate the pace himself, and that did start forcing the errors out of Wawrinka. So as I say, in this second set, I think Zverev, he served at 80% of first serves. I don't think he lost a point on first serve in that second set, and Stan was really struggling with the return. All credit to Zverev. I've talked a lot about his defensive work, his patience, his composure in this tournament, but he really showed a different side of his game. He realised that to beat Stan, he had to attack him as well. He was setting that first set up brilliantly, really constructing points. Stan's short return was allowing Zverev to come in, attack the net, power forehands and backhands down the line. So he was giving Stan almost a taste of his own medicine. Stan didn't serve as well as he has done throughout the tournament, and that just allowed Zverev into the games more, allowed Zverev to return deep, and he was putting pressure on Wawrinka. But I was quite disappointed with Stan's game plan. I know it is his plan A, it's his go-to shots to just look for the lines all the time, but when Zverev was finding depth like he was and switching up the pace, using his backhand slice, then Stan is a time and a place to go for your winners, and he wasn't always picking the right shots in my opinion. Slow balls catching the baseline, and Stan's trying to smash them for winners, which is nigh and impossible even for a player of his ability. And he was just making error after error. The errors really did start to mount up for Stan, and he was almost giving Zverev games at times, and that didn't really change throughout the match. Zverev closed out that second set with ease, and the match followed the same pattern throughout. Zverev just serving brilliantly. Stan could hardly get into a game of Zverev's serve. Zverev was very clever, I thought, how he switched this up. He was super aggressive on his own serve, and then on Stan's serve more patient, having more composure, and just trying to force errors out of Stan, which worked. And I think Stan had struggled to deal with them switch ups in pace. 1 minute he was being super aggressive, the next minute he was just waiting for a Stan error, and that difference in rally lengths was massively favourable for Zverev. So yeah, the third and fourth set, as I say, he didn't really face many break points, and then he was getting into Stan's game a lot, putting him under constant pressure, and Stan almost gifted him the second, third and fourth set in my opinion, just making far too many errors, and Zverev ended up cruising to a win. For Stan, as I say, you don't know whether he was 100% for this one. It's been a long tournament for him. He has played quite a lot of hours on the court, and when you come and do that off the back of a poor 2019, I think for his standards, then it's going to be tough on your body. But hopefully he stays injury free and goes on to have a successful 2020. As for Sasha, I'm super pleased for him to get to this stage of a Grand Slam at this early age of his career. He just looks like he's enjoying his tennis again. He's playing his best tennis of his life, I think, and he'll be confident going to that Dominic Thiem match. On the Dominic Thiem against Rafael Nadal, this is an all-time classic, the most I've enjoyed a tennis match in a long time. Incredible match, and did actually tip Thiem to win this one before the match started last night, and I wasn't really sure why at the time. I just felt that Thiem was due a breakthrough win. He's too good not to beat one of these big three at a Grand Slam quarter-final. He has been an outstanding player throughout his career. He just hasn't quite got over that winning line. But tonight was a night for him. I just felt Nadal, he's been an outstanding run, but it was always going to come to an end at some point. You can't keep winning when you're playing this level of player, and it wasn't even enough night for Nadal. He turned up, he produced his best tennis, but Thiem was just too good on the night for him. But yeah, an incredible match, and just going through it quickly in that first set, Nadal took an early break, and that's one criticism I do have of Nadal tonight. I don't think he had that killer instinct that he usually does. He had an early break in that first set, and with the first set obviously being so important, I did feel like that Rafa Nadal's experience and winning run confidence would drag him through that one. He was leading, I think it was 4-3 or 5-4, something like that. I'm not exactly sure. It seems like hours ago, but Thiem, all credit to him, he fought back. He didn't give any set up tonight. He was constantly in the Nadal service games, and he took his breakpoint opportunities in that first set to level it up. And then Thiem, I always favour the experienced player in tie breaks. Obviously Nadal's been there and done it many times. and this is the biggest match of his life. It was a big question: could he produce his best tennis? Could he peak in them big moments and putting it down the pressure? And he done absolutely that. He served outstanding in the first set tie break. He was hitting winners from all angles and really making Nadal play the extra ball. Usually it's Nadal bullying his opponent in his submission, but this time it was Nadal being bullied. Thiem, I was impressed with Thiem tonight, how he stuck to plan A. We know how good his backhand is. It's his big weapon. It was going to the Nadal forehand, but he wasn't fazed by that. He fancied himself to out-hit Nadal, and he did that all night. I think Nadal's forehand struggled today with the pace of Thiem's backhand, and it was a truly outstanding match. So Thiem took that first set tie break, and I think that was a big turning point in the match. Obviously Thiem's just 26. He's one of the fittest guys on tour, and quickly say how quick he is on the court. I didn't realise till tonight how quick and efficient Thiem is. His movements are incredible, and I just feel that first set gave Thiem big confidence to know that it was probably going to go 4 or 5 then. He's only 26, so they say he's very, very fit, and he'll have fancied himself from that point on. But in the second set, as Nadal always does, he come fighting back. He gained another early break, and I just felt like, is this the time for Nadal? Does the fight back start here? Can he serve this one out and level it up and avenge that error that he made in the first of not capitalising on the early break of serve? But again, Thiem come roaring back. Every time you just thought Nadal had the upper hand in the set, Thiem come fighting back to nick it and take it to the distance. It went another tie break, and then Thiem all night just produced some of the most ridiculous points that you like to see all year, and just he actually led 4-0 in that tie break. Thiem Nadal made some very uncharacteristic errors, very loose forehands and backhands, and at that point he looked a bit down and out Nadal, but you can never write him off. Errors started to creep into Thiem. It switched up, and Nadal got back to 4-4. At that point you think, is this the turning point? Thiem's falling up in the tie break, you should be 2 sets up, now it's 4-4. Is this the comeback for Nadal? Is this the time where Thiem really starts to feel it in his head? Feels like you can see the 2-set lead, which you can't do against Rafa. He's always in the game, he's always in the sets till the final point. And Rafa did come fighting back to 4-4, but then all credit to Thiem again. He composed himself. He reassured himself that it was 4-4. He was still well in the set. He served a huge first serve and hit a winner to make it 5-4, and then produced two world class points to close it out 7-4. And from then on, it was always going to be an uphill task from Rafa, but I certainly wasn't still ruling him out. I could talk about this match for hours. The fourth set was the third and fourth set. Well, the whole match was just such high quality. The third set they went toe to toe. You could see how much Thiem wanted to get it done in 3. He didn't want Rafa to get any foothold in the match. He knows, how well he is in a fight. Nadal, how he loves them sort of matches where he engages a crowd and they go for 4 and 5 and 6 hours. Thiem didn't want that, but unfortunately had no choice. At 5-4, Rafa played a brilliant game. I think Thiem got a little bit tight. You could see he was starting to get a bit nervous. He felt the pressure of Nadal. He knew Nadal was coming, and Nadal came. He did. He broke him to make it 6-4. And at that point, it was a case of here we go again. One of the main challenges to the big 3, getting close but yet so far. And was Thiem going to be able to close it out? Nadal. This is where I messed up last time, but I'm not going to this time. I remember now. Nadal gained an early break. No, he didn't. Thiem gained an early break from Nadal. I think he led 2-1, and it was a case of I'm messing up now. Can Thiem serve the match out? Can he regain his composure? Can he find his first serves? Can he keep finding them big winners on the backhand and forehand side? And he done that all the way really. He kept troubling Nadal on his serve, and at 5-4, I think Thiem was serving at 5-4 it was, and he'd barely dropped serve all day, and you just had a feeling in the back of your mind. I think everybody in the stadium and everybody at home watching knew that something was going to happen in this game. It wasn't going to be a straightforward hold, and the team served a double fault to 15-30, made a huge error to give Nadal two break-back points, and he took them, and it went to 5-5. And then you just think, has Thiem blew his chance? He's serving for the match to reach a semi-final this Australian Open, beat the world number one, and he's been broke. Was that his chance missed? You don't get many against Rafa. He got one, and he blew it. He did choke at that point, there's no doubt about it. Serving that double fault, he missed a routine shot and went long, and you just wonder whether he had blown it, but he managed to force himself into a tie break, and then it was just a crazy tie break really. Long story short, Thiem managed to craft two match point opportunities. He served a perfect serve out wide. He got a mid-court shot on his forehand, and he had the whole court to aim at. His forehand had barely gone wrong all night, and at the biggest stage he dumped it into the bottom half of the net, and he even looked shell-shocked himself. He looked to say, am I ever going to close this match out? Am I meant to win this one? But eventually he did win this one. He got a little bit lucky with a passing shot to craft an extra match point. It was a brilliant one of a backhand, but it did clip the top of the net and sort of put Rafa out of his stuffing really. But then a match point, Thiem finally took it on his third match point, I believe it was, 8-6 in the tie break, and it was just quite an incredible match. Nadal, as I say, what a fighter. He was on a great Grand Slam winning Ronnie Exoticia in the quarter final, but he still had a fantastic tournament. I think today he'll be ruining the missed opportunities. He should have really had control of that match in the first and second set, being a breakup like he was. He was favourites in them sets. Should have probably won them. But Thiem is Dominic Thiem. When he hits the ball like he does today, he's relentless hitting. He wears you down. He bullied Nadal into submission at times, I felt, in this match, and that was enough for him to get over the line and get to his first ever Australian Open semi-final. So eventually we move on, and that sets up a ZVEREV against Dominic Thiem semi-final. Tomorrow is the first men's semi-final, Novak Djokovic against Roger Federer. So I'll be back later on tonight with a preview of that one. Also back with a preview of the first women's semi-final, which is Sofia Kenin against Ashley Barty. So thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the match. I certainly did this morning. 4 or 5 hours I think it was, but it was all worth it. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you later on.